Hi, it's Dre Griggs with Obsidian Wisdom. Today we'll be answering the question, what strategies do I use to stay positive? Now, the world isn't always going to be rainbows and Skittles. Every day is not going to feel like the best day. There are days that we're going to be stressing about work. There's going to be days that we have expectations and they're not going to be met. There's just going to be days that we physically feel drained or sick, or just lots of different things that are going to happen throughout life. And it's not enough to just tell people, well, if you stay positive, if you stay optimistic, then things are going to work out for you. While statistically speaking, it is true that people who are optimistic are more likely to succeed. They're usually going to have the more income and a better job and things like that. But when it really comes down to your ability to be able to stay positive, you have to have a plan in place. And within the wisdom metric framework, we have the happiness framework. And within there, we talk about the 4 things that ensure that you can be happy. And I call it the G.L.A.D method. But we're going to focus today on specifically, how do you reset yourself? How do you motivate, encourage, and stay disciplined when things don't always go your way every day? I know for me, it's as simple as the things that make me feel good, the things that bring me joy and happiness, I do more of it. It's all about the actions that we take each day. If you read the book Happiness by Design, it's by Dr. Paul Dolan. He talks about how happiness is broken into your purpose and your pleasure, and that you want to make sure that you spend enough time each day doing things that brings you purpose and pleasure. In my mind, if you ever are having a rough day, you would just look at that list, or you would just think back to things that bring you joy and happiness and contentment, and then you would do something. You would do something on that list. So for me, my family is very important to me. I love doing things with them. So I could take my kids to the park and it would immediately reset me, where I may be having a rough day, but it just helps me to reprioritize things, where I'm going to say the things that are most important in my life, I still have them. I may not have got that new client. I may not have got that speaking engagement. Things may not have worked out for me the way that I wanted to, but it's okay because I still have the joy that is in my life today. And so I usually will just go back and do something with my kids. That always helps me out. Oftentimes talking to my wife, that helps me out. Talking to my parents, just the joy and the appreciation of them still being alive where I can hear their voice. These are things that I often do to reset myself. I focus on family. I also spend a good amount of time in the business. I actually find a lot of joy talking to people, giving them hope, helping them believe in their dreams. My dad always used to tell me, he would say, don't forget about your dreams. And I took that into my practice, where every time I meet with people, we always talk about your dreams. What is it that makes you tick? The things that you would do if you didn't have to think about money, what you would do if you had $1 million today, things like that, where people will share their dreams. Sure, the first 3, 4, 5 things is usually us running away from pain, where we want to pay off debt, or we want to get rid of student loans. We just want to get rid of the burdens that we have in our life. But once you get past all of your burdens, that's where the happiness is. That's where the joy is. And you don't want to shortchange yourself where you only focus on getting rid of the burden, where we're working to pay our bills. That's not much of a life. There's not much joy there. But if you are able to say, I enjoy just any aspect about the job. When you first took the job, it may not be everything you thought it was. It may be kind of annoying the people that are around you. But what were you most excited about that position? If it was money, then fine. I don't recommend that being the number one reason that you take any job. But if it's money, what were you going to do with it? Because we're not Scrooge McDuck. We're not just gathering the money to go swimming in it. There is something that we're trying to accomplish with it. And so if you're able to reset yourself and realize what it was that you were working towards, that should usually help you out a little bit. The next thing that I usually will do is I reevaluate the people that are in my life. Whoever's in your life, they are going to have a direct impact on what you do on a daily basis. Everything from the foods that they like to the activities that they do. I know for my wife, she went from not running at all to she was invited to this marathon group, and then she was running at 4 a.m. each morning because that was what the group was doing, and she enjoyed doing that. If you are in an entrepreneur mastermind where everybody is meeting and talking about growing their business and their clients, then you will find yourself being more active and more engaged, and your mindset will be so focused on that. If you have kids, then you know that you may have play dates and birthday parties and different events and baby showers and weddings and all that stuff that you go through and you go to, and it really starts always making you wonder. You're like, man, are we done having kids? Are we going to have kids? I remember when our kids were that age and we got to do that stuff. Whatever you engage in, it kind of resets the way that you think and perceive things. And that's definitely going to be tied to the people that you hang out with. So anytime that you find yourself needing a positivity boost, hopefully you have someone in your life that can be that person. Someone who makes you laugh when you talk to them. Someone who resets and just helps you to look at things just a little bit differently to be able to give you that encouragement that you need. And if you don't have anyone in your life like that, then it means that you probably are surrounded by people who are a part of the problem. And you're going to have to reevaluate those people that you have in your life. And it may mean that you're going to have to end some of those relationships. Your relationships, you don't owe anyone anything. You should evaluate them in the present. It doesn't really matter that that person helped you 5, 10, 15 years ago. It doesn't even honestly matter if you're related to the person. It becomes a, what are their values and are they aligned with my values? And it's really that simple. If they're not aligned with your values, it's going to force you to do things on a regular basis that you don't want to do. And I promise you, it'll be very difficult to maintain a positive mindset because you're often doing things that you don't want to do. So you're going to be looking and evaluating, and it's going to now have you thinking about, why would anybody find this fun? Why would anybody do this? Wouldn't it be better to do it that way? And we get in a place where we think we can change people, but you really can only control yourself. You really can't control other people. And I promise you, the sooner you realize that, you'll be much more positive, where you just allow people to show you who they are, and then you decide whether that's acceptable. And then you move on if it isn't. And you will tell them. I'm not saying you shouldn't tell anyone, hey, I don't really like what you were doing. But I am saying that once you tell them that you don't like it and they keep doing it, then you should just say, you know what, it's been great. I'm not trying to change you, and you're not trying to change me. This isn't going to work. And that you should never put any of that extra burden and that guilt where, oh, I should stay with them because they're a family friend, or I probably should make this work because they helped me in the past, or they may be valuable in the future. The way the good book says is it says, oh, no man, nothing but love. And I've talked about that in another video, where you really want to be able to look at things from a clear perspective. There are so many people in the world that surely you can find the right people who share the same philosophies and mindsets as you, to where you're able to enjoy being around them and get the benefit. Now, naturally, we all find ourselves in a position where we do feel like we owe somebody. We feel like our supervisor or our family, where we feel like there is this burden that we owe them, and that we can't be unrealistic and just, say deuces and head out. But you do want to get to that position, which is why it's very important that when you are working for your money, that you have money that you put away to work for you. Because when your money's working for you, then that gives you the freedom for you to be able to say, I don't like the way that this job, the daily routine of this job, it doesn't fulfill me for whatever reason that it doesn't fulfill you. And then you're able to create a routine that does. And sometimes if the work, you can find a part of the work where you can carve out either the relationships or some side projects to where you can bring that fulfillment into your profession to where you feel good. But if that doesn't work for you, if you have the money that is working for you, you can find a different job where it's not a question of, can I buy my complete freedom? Maybe instead of you having to have, $100,000 a year, maybe you have enough money being generated from your money that you can survive off of $50,000 a year. And that may open up some avenues where you can work at like a nonprofit or a less stressful part-time job, or however you want to work your schedule, where you have the ability to make decisions based on something other than money, which is often where most people are going to find their happiness. If you're making decisions based on the money, where I talk to kids and they're like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I just know I want to make a lot of money. The system is designed to find people that think that way and to put them in a lifelong service in the system. If you don't want to have lifelong service because you're chasing the money, then you have to know what motivates you outside of that. And that's usually going to be your core values, your mission statement, the things that bring you joy. The sooner that you find that, the better off you're going to be. And so for me, when I reset myself, the strategies that I use to make myself happy, I often will focus on the things that bring me happiness. Obviously, that's the best place to start. Second, I stop doing the things that bother me as best as I can, where I'm saying, okay, that doesn't make me feel good, so I shouldn't do that anymore. Third is always in the relationships, you reevaluate the people that you're around. If you're around people that bring you joy, that fulfill you, that push you, that motivate you, then they also encourage you to do things that you want to do. If you have things in common with these people, then you're going to do things that you already enjoy doing. If you enjoy eating healthy, then hang out with people who eat healthy. If you enjoy being with your kids, then hang out with people who have kids. If you enjoy entrepreneurship and business and volunteering, then go volunteer, go start a business and do all these adventures. If you find people doing the things that you want to do, then I promise you that you're going to be able to reset your positivity meter from whenever you have daily setbacks. And often you want to have where you just keep track of it. And I'm not telling you to be crazy about it, but I have text messages that I send myself on a regular basis with my thoughts and ideas, and then I reread them whenever something is going on, where I remind myself of the joy that I had on a certain day. Because when we get all flustered, it's very hard for us to remember any of the positive things. But if we're able to look at them and read them, we can often calm ourselves down, regain our perspective, and reframe the experience. Where it may be just a bad day, or it may be a bad moment in a day, but that doesn't make the whole day bad. It doesn't make the whole experience worthless. It doesn't make all of the sacrificing and all the things that we've done to this point irrelevant. Sometimes we just have to take a step back and reevaluate the situation just as it is. And take it as the information. Not that anything's inherently good or inherently bad. It's just information to help us make a better decision, where we may learn something about someone and we'll take that information in. And if that is fine, then it's fine. We'll keep hanging out with them. And if it's not fine, then we'll stop hanging out with them. And then the last thing is you just want to reward yourself. Often we don't enjoy the journey because we don't enjoy the journey. I know you probably get tired of me saying that, but it really is true. The journey should be enjoyable. So for example, if you set the goal to say, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, then you have conditioned yourself to feel like if you lost 10 pounds that you failed. If you lost 20, 30, 40 pounds that you still failed because you didn't lose the 50. But instead, if you set little benchmarks along the way where you say, hey, every time I lose 5 pounds, I'm going to celebrate. Not celebrate like I'm going to go eat a whole cake and, like one of those rock cheat days. But I'm going to celebrate with something outside of the food because you don't want to mess yourself up. But you just want to celebrate. You just want to acknowledge the accomplishment. Allow yourself to enjoy it. Feel good. Reward yourself. However that looks. Go see a movie. Go on a walk. I don't know. Get yourself a book. Whatever it is you want to do, just reward yourself. And you want to do that really in all aspects. Where when things are going good or things are going bad, if you're able to keep track, remind yourself, okay, this is just one moment in my overall life, and it's just information. I'm going to make a better decision. And then when you reward yourself, that's going to be more information that you then use when you are having a rough day. You're going to say, well, I just celebrated a milestone just yesterday or the day before or the week before. And then you're going to say, you know what, maybe things aren't as bad as I thought. And if you want to be tech savvy, then you can make yourself a video. When you're feeling your absolute best, make yourself a video. Just talk about how you feel, what it was that brought you that joy, the optimism that you feel, and then watch that video when you're going through some of the rough times, just to remind yourself how good things are. If it's someone else, have your kids or your wife or your husband, your friends, have them make a video expressing how important you are, how valuable you are to them, how much they enjoy being around you, and how thankful they are to have in your life. When you watch these videos, how could you not snap out of it and start feeling a little bit better? If you like the video, I ask you to like and subscribe, and feel free to check out other wisdometric videos if you're looking for ways to eradicate financial stress, generate passive income, and build a prosperous retirement strategy.